Hello, my friends, and welcome to tonight's episode of The Strength of Thousands here on twitch.tv/tabletop rolls. Yes, I remembered to turn up the volume of my friends before we started the stream today because I'm smart. But speaking of things that make me feel smart, we've got a couple of announcements. Number one being, hey, if you're not following us on YouTube, go follow us on YouTube. It's a great way to get caught up on the streams you've missed, except for the Calling Chronicle. Because we are uploading again, and we're uploading regularly. We'll get there eventually.
The fact that people are going to be able to catch up on Astral Calling before they finish the introductory Calling Chronicle series.
Time is an illusion.
Once I'm caught up on Strength of Thousands, I'll do Calling Chronicle. But I feel like getting Strength of Thousands and we caught up first are the most important. But yeah, so 10:30 a.m. League of Amazing Adventure episodes drop. 1 p.m. Strength of Thousands AP episodes drop. An episode every day but Saturday, because Saturdays is devoted entirely to the Astral Calling right now. So we got that going for us. Now we got other shows here on the channel. Lots of shows for you to watch. Number one being on Wednesday night, we have the campaign wrap-up for the League of Amazing Adventurers. Our first campaign, and the longest running one that we've had on the channel, 211 episodes.
Campaign wrap-up, campaign wrap-up.
Is that how many it ended up being?
Yeah.
211?
211.
Bit of an awkward number.
I think. It might have been 121.
Hold on, do we
I think it was 121.
Were the specials numbered, like the weird non-canon, semi-canon Halloween
No, the
stuff?
specials weren't numbered. They're like semi-canon, so
we'll say like 125, give or take.
Very long running so far.
Did I mix up the numbers? I mixed up
You
numbers.
did. It is 121.
That's probably like
Still an impressive.
Well, you were only about 100 episodes off.
He just flipped and reversed, you know? We all have a little...
That thing down, flip it, and reverse it.
There we go. But that's Wednesdays, our campaign wrap-up for League of Amazing Adventurers. Come and watch me probably cry on stream. Definitely McKenna.
You can already watch me cry on TikTok.
Yeah.
Aww. I saw that TikTok.
Then on Friday, we have the Astral Calling. It's our D&D 5e game. It's D&D in space! Space. We are down in McKenna this week, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm saying hopefully because last time your trip got canceled.
Okay.
With out of context, it's just
out of
good
context.
recovery.
I
think Will's a little tired of me.
No, I'm not. Out of context, it sounds terrible. But the last time McKenna tried to go on this trip with her friends, it got canceled. So I'm hoping it doesn't get canceled. That is.
Yeah. Hopefully, no one gets COVID this time. Knock wood.
Yeah. Then speaking of knocking wood, we have on. No, this is a bad segue for this. Never mind.
Rude, walk that back. Walk that
back a bit.
Collectively.
Yeah,
Where you were going, but
Salt and Strategy on Saturday.
Good job.
We're having a good time with Celeste.
Will, Matt, Chad, and Calf, who cannot roll an insight check to save our lives.
Though whose bird murders everything.
Yes.
Until it doesn't.
Calf's bird is carrying us right now, and it's great.
yeah.
Or at least making things go faster.
Yeah.
Half bird is Choco.
Now
It can actually fly.
Now my bird will try. Now my bard will try to kill it.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Then on Sunday we have Stardew Sunday with friends, and hey, we had the biggest crowd that we've ever had at Stardew Sunday this weekend. So thanks for that, y'all. I think it's because Sarah, Emily, and Aubrey are so likable and awesome.
you had the first-hand experience of what I am like in video games,
I
which
love
is
it.
I will just say whatever. I have the worst game talking. I'm just constantly giving commentary.
I'm sorry, I'm enamored with what is going on Zoe's.
Are you popping a unicorn?
Yes.
It's a little nightlight lamp that changes colors.
Is it from IKEA, Zoe?
Nah, I got it at the Home Depot, the Homo Depot.
Oh, the Home Depot.
Is that a Pusheen?
Oh.
I don't have anything that glows right now. I have a sword. That's all.
I have
We're in the
it's
glow.
dead.
I have
Mine's dead.
Oh,
a
and
lighter.
also probably will.
Got
I would
makeup.
think though,
Actually,
for this week, it's only going to be you,
You got
Stardew.
makeup
I
on already?
certainly am not
Yeah.
available this coming Sunday.
Oh,
You
that's
get
fair.
makeup on everything.
I have
But
something
it will
that
be a Stardew Sunday.
It will be a
Only-
Stardew Sunday.
only Zoe will probably get this.
You're mean.
I love my little merfolk girl.
I freaking love Nami. She's so cute.
All right, so moving right
She's
along.
so cute.
Stardew Sunday on Sunday. It'll just be me this week, continuing to work towards perfection. But next week, we'll have Stardew with friends again.
Yes.
And watch me finish the mines, probably. That's my goal.
Did you delve too deep and too greedily?
Not
I'm
yet.
actually going to get us my goal is to get the chicken coop up.
I like that.
Mm.
My goal is to get the mines done for us. And do all that.
And on Mondays.
Yeah, and then on Monday's Strength of Thousands AP, you're watching it right now. And since you are watching that right now, Matthew Woo, why
Monday.
don't you
Oh,
give us a happy little introduction of the other people in this game?
A happy little introduction, Uwu. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Strength of Thousands Adventure Path for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I am Matthew, or Urbanoff at various places on the internet. I am the DM for this interesting collection of individuals that we've picked up along the roads of the Milwaukee Expanse, where we take our group of students and then teachers out into the world to learn lessons, discover magics, and, do justice. Because when last we left our adventurers, teachers,
Well,
what have
who's
you,
in this game, Matthew?
I'm getting to that. They had finally cleared out the prison of the vacant eye, which was occupied by the Knights of Abendigo. But who could have done this heroic deeds? Why don't we start with McKenna? Who are you and who are you playing tonight?
I am playing Avi, the Nyctera Witch, Rune Witch specifically, and her familiar Agate, the Dwemer Core Cub, Dwemer something, Dwemer Cub, Dwemer Cat,
Yeah.
Dwemer Cat Cub.
Kitty cat.
Words.
Meow meow. Magic meow.
Magic kitty cat.
Magic meow meow.
Magic meow meow.
But speaking of meow meows, Sarah, why don't you introduce your character and yourself?
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I am playing Charlotte, the naughty toxicologist, who for this next section has, for the first part of it, absconded into a room to go do some crafting so that people can get some cool perks to weapons. But yes, I'm playing that one. So.
And sorry. Yeah. And speaking of people who have probably statistically contributed the most just through numbers to our success, Zoe, who is your character and who are you?
Hi, I'm Zoe, and I hate numbers. No, I'm playing Ophelia. She also hates numbers, but she's our bard, so she's our party's +1er, +2er, and sometimes +3er.
It sounds vaguely dirty.
Hmm.
But
is.
speaking of vague things like vaguely suspicious or vaguely culty, Will, who are you playing tonight?
Hi there, I'm Will. I'm playing Igara Gamma. And that's
And
it.
Choco.
No, it's actually appropriate that he did mention
Choco.
Choco.
Why?
You'll see.
I can replace Choco after a week of downtime. They
No,
are
we
expendable.
can't. We love Choco.
But let's save that drama for the stream. Will, why don't you go ahead and roll that intro and we can start delving into this interesting interpersonal conflict we've stumbled into.
I
Did we
will
get
push
betrayed?
the button.
Are we back?
Yes, we're back. I mean, arguably.
All right. So, just to dive back into the context of all this, when last we left our adventurers, they had cleared the prison of the vacant eye and realized that the Knights of Jula are still a threat because they have essentially, seemingly, kind of taken over the town of Jula. And it's very possible and very likely that the father of one of their students was taken by the knights to their stronghold in Jula. So the party exited the prison, hoping to perhaps find some of the giant riding frogs that had been inadvertently let out of the stables. Not finding any of the frogs, you did unfortunately, possibly, find a mysterious carriage, which turned out to be owned and operated perhaps by the owner of the Black Hat, the kind of mysterious magic shop back in Nantambu. It turns out that the blood debt that was owed to Will's animal companion had been sold, essentially, debt was purchased by Mercedes, and she was here to discuss possibly paying off that debt and, coincidentally, also as a gesture of good faith, give you guys a ride to Jula. You entered into her carriage to discover that it was essentially a mobile magnificent mansion or what have you, so it's much bigger on the inside, festooned with brilliant brass finishings and dark satin wall coverings, and you all had rooms set aside for you. Charlotte absconded to her assigned room to work on some alchemical productions. I think Igora also possibly left just to go to his room.
Just sat up in a corner.
Okay. Just set up in a corner, like not even your own room?
No, I
Didn't take the room.
just sat up in a corner, and I sent Choco to the room because they have to listen to me.
They're having a tiffy. It's a spat.
Well, we're gonna zoom back into the scene, but as you have sent Choco to the room, kind of patters over to the door and kind of turns and stops and comes down and does the little like flamingo thing where it sits down and its legs disappear underneath it.
You know, Gama, I think the two of us are being quite excellent together lately. We're such a great team, you and I. We wouldn't betray each other.
You see Choco kind of glances over at Mercedes, who very briefly looks over at you, got you three in the corner out of the corner of her eye, and she kind of wiggles some fingers, and Choco seems to give her a nod, and Choco turns, and in a quiet voice, so the rest of you can't really overhear this, just kind of says to you, well, I feel like you're upset with me.
You know, Gama, I'm so happy it's just the two of us here together.
Being childish isn't going to resolve this, Igora.
Let's see. I can do that. No, that would make me evil. Can't do that.
I feel we can talk through this if you want. I don't
Gama,
feel
if
that
you
I've
could-
done anything particularly wrong.
If you could do me a favor, Gama, let me ask you your opinion on this. If someone were to say, give a debt away that could put someone who realistically you do owe a fair amount to, because you know your extended life, becoming stronger, becoming better than what you were initially, that could put them in danger because of and no offense, Mercedes, I know you're probably listening on this, incredibly sketchy person.
She makes no reaction to that.
Yeah.
She's smiling very pleasantly at Ophelia and Avi Avi.
I feel like it'd be understandable that I'd be a little bit mad here, right, Gama? Yeah, boss, you're right. Thank you, Gama.
Are we overhearing any of this? Are we just sitting there sipping tea
Give me a
like,
perception check.
Igara's going full blast. He's not even hiding it.
I get some quick clarification because I think this is the first time I've heard Gama speak per se. Did you just Sven Christoph that?
Yeah,
or
No, that's
it is
Gama's
Gala
voice.
does speak on occasion.
okay?
Yeah.
Thank
Choco
you.
seems
I
to have
was
just
just-
been
I just-
granted.
Image in my
God,
head.
I love that image though.
I love that image of him making Gama's voice.
You know,
Okay.
Gamas are better than people.
Right now, you think Gammas are better than Chocos.
Oh,
Avi Avi, don't you think I'm right?
no, I don't quantify my friends like that. That's weird.
You're right, that's more of an Ophelia thing. I should have gone that way with it.
You guys are all pretty equal
Yeah. See?
for now.
Choco just kind of tilts his head a little. Like, are you saying that you disapprove what I have done with the debt that was owed to me for saving your lives?
I am saying that it would have been nice to have been given a heads up before you went through the act. And I don't feel like that's unreasonable.
You know what? I can understand that. But I felt that at the moment this was what was a good choice for me, for the things that I wanted in my life. I'm becoming more than I wanted to, or than I had been before, and it's because of this arrangement that I made. Is it wrong for me to seek to better myself?
Maybe soon I will be dead, and then you can move on with your life as you see fit. Or if you'd like, you can go now.
I wouldn't.
I'm giving you the door. It's, well, you probably don't want to come out to the carriage. I don't know how quickly it's moving. But you're free to go whenever you want, Choco.
Yes, I'm aware of that. And yet here I am.
Yet here you are. Igor just moves to the other side of Gamma. Just kind of like sits down.
Choco, do you want to come over here and snuggle with us? We're not mad at you.
Thank you, Avi Avi, but I do understand why Igor is upset, and I don't begrudge them how they feel. I just wanted them to understand the choice that I made and the choice that I am still making to remain.
Well, I
think you are being unfair to Mercedes, though, Igor.
I disagree.
I feel like you are possibly understandably operating under some assumptions that might be incorrect. You want to chime in at any time, Mercedes? Maybe defend yourself. That would be possibly helpful. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was a private conversation. I didn't want to intrude.
Point to the box. There's a mage in that box.
Yes, he is paying off his debt.
He agreed to it.
Yes. He is almost through with his prescribed time. He wanted an item that was necessary for a resurrection ritual.
Mm-hmm.
His daughter had been killed in an accident, and he didn't have the money
and
at
then
the
you
time.
monkey pawed him into a box.
No, he agreed to the deal. I don't hide anything about the deals I make with people. I'm not
Oh yes,
trying
here's
to...
the item to resurrect your daughter. Resurrect her. Now be stuck in a box for the rest of her life. Wahaha.
Let me be clear. He came to me asking if there was anything I could do. I said, I have the rare and expensive reagents necessary, but I would need something in return. They asked what they could provide, and I asked them what spells they knew. They happened to know Magnificent Mansion, and I said, well, if you are willing to provide me with the use of the mansion for a set amount of time, that would cover the debt. And they agreed to this.
So they got the item, they didn't even get to resurrect that loved one. Even better for
No,
you.
she's alive. She's with her mother right now, as I understand.
How long is this period of time, if you don't mind my asking?
A year. They have been in there about 7 months now. They are asleep. They are not deteriorating or anything. They're just essentially, they are on a trip while their family is at home.
That is objectively very fair. When I think about how much a resurrection ritual costs to make the materials for that and how much one might earn in a year, that's... Igor, that's a very fair price.
I would have
It's
just
not even
given
the
it
most...
to him.
It's not even the strangest deal that I've ever made with anyone.
Ooh, what is the strangest deal you've ever made with someone?
Thank you, Avi.
Nadine, would you come in here, please? And a door opens, and for a second, looks like the door has just opened completely on its own. And then you look down, and a Nicteran in a butler's outfit waddles out. Um, you do notice one thing immediately a little odd about this Nicteran. Their eyes are kind of glowing a pale blue. And Nadine comes out like, yes, Lady Mercedes. Did you need something? I was placing the mints on the guests' pillows. Would you just come in here for a moment? Sit down. You can have a beverage if you like. Thank you, lady. I was just explaining that in my line of work, I've had some interesting dealings with unusual terms. If it's all right, I know it was a slightly personal matter for you, but would you mind explaining the terms of our deal? Nadine kind of looks at you. Oh, yes, that's perfectly all right. As you might have noticed, I am dead. I am currently undead.
You didn't look a day over unalive. I did notice it all, actually.
Well, it helps when you keep in more climate-controlled areas. I, when I was alive, was this is oh, I'm a little flushed thinking of this. I was enamored with an orc woman. She was everything to me. But I did not have the courage to approach her. I'm, as you can imagine, a Nicteran
Big
trying to
size
woo.
difference.
Yes, trying to woo a very. And I'm not a physical sort of any kind. I was a gardener. And I went to Miss Mercedes' shop to find some sort of amulet or potion that would give me the courage, or I don't know, the animal magnetism that would allow me to catch her eye. And instead of some magical doodad, she spent 3 months tutoring me with mannequins and etiquette books and conversation tactics and the like. It was not at all what I was expecting, but much less magical. But it worked. And though there were some family issues, of course, myself and my dear heart, we spent a wonderful 20 years together after that. But my love passed away. There was an incident involving some adventuring. And it might sound slightly cliche, but I think I personally also died of a broken heart not long after. And then my side of the deal came into effect. I am now working as a manservant butler, so I suppose, for Miss Mercedes, for as long as I enjoyed happiness with my beloved.
Oh.
So I've been doing this about 10 years now, so I've got another 10 years, and then I get to go go into the dirt, so to speak.
And how will this affect your reincarnation cycle?
We'll see.
Fascinating. Well, I hope it works out.
I mean, it's working out so far. I mean, I can't say I don't miss my darling, but I probably still miss her once reincarnated or something. I don't know exactly how it works. So
You still have vague memories from previous lives, but not in like a... I don't know, just sometimes you see bits and pieces of them in dreams as if you had seen them in a movie. You don't have the specific emotional connection. You know what I'm talking about. You've been through it.
what's a movie?
Good question.
I was just about to say that.
Like you were watching a play that the bards do.
There you go. Nice recovery.
Oh, a play. Yeah,
Nailed it.
play.
Took a landing.
That sounds like something that Benji was talking about.
Benji does talk about a lot of stuff that I don't understand.
Yep.
Yes, he does, Mercedes says and sips her drink.
Benji.
We've had drinks. It's nothing. He's adorable,
He's so sweet. He's
isn't
such a
he?
sweet little pooch.
Yes. Just to, um, thank you for sharing that, Nadine. I know that's a little personal, but yeah, it's perfectly all right.
Lovely
Um,
meeting you, Nadine. Thank you for joining us.
I'm going to return to my mint placing. I like to get them at a perfect 90-degree angle.
I can't
You
wait
don't really
to
need to
try
do that. No, no, I do. He's very fastidious. Though, now as a counterpoint, though, I have made deals that have had less than heartwarming results, but that is more to do with the people that I made the deals with. Because I am not going to claim that I'm any sort of saint or a fairy godmother or anything like that. In a way, I am what I like to think of as a facilitator. I will make deals with people if I feel them to be equitable, but I will also not hold back, even if I think that the deal is actually not in the best interest of those I'm making the deal with. Some people have come to my shop, taken items, and then unfortunately gone on to do rather awful things. But I think that the issue is that that sort of thing was maybe always within the person.
I am of the same mind that there is no magic that is inherently evil. It is just the kind of people who carry it out in evil ways.
I mean, there is some kind of demonic magic that is explicitly evil and uses to corrupt people, but I don't have any of that stuff lying around. It's not particularly useful most of the time, and it's usually used in evil rituals and the like, so it's very specific.
Then I have to imagine there might be some wild, contrived scenario where it might be used for a greater good.
Yes.
But
Who knows where the twists and turns of fate may take us all?
precisely.
I am merely here to speed people along their destiny, so to speak. If they were always going to be this, why waste time?
Got a list.
Indeed.
Well, I, for one, I think it's very cool that you have all of this niche and interesting and unusual stuff and information and all manner of learnedness from all manner of places. I think that is an invaluable resource personally.
I like to think so as well, but I understand that there are certain prejudices associated with kind of gestures at the horns and the like, people like me, and a lot of it is not necessarily unfounded. Devils and demons are often a corruptive and destructive force in the world. The carriage, I'm sure you have noticed, is styled as from Chiliac, and a place that I am not welcome in, interestingly enough.
That sounds like a fascinating story.
It's really not.
I should just be clear. My superstition of you has absolutely nothing to do with your outward appearance. It is 100% to do with the fact that I have been actively told that you have cursed people that I know.
I mean, I didn't curse them myself.
I'm just kind of putting that out there.
I told them.
Yeah, we have had a couple of teachers at the Magambia just straight up say, "Don't go there. It's bad news." But I don't know. I like to see these things play out for myself. I think that's a more interesting way of going through life.
And I am slowly but surely learning the spells that will eventually break you out of whatever macabre fascination happens to you, Avi Avi.
You really are learning some big words tonight, Igora. It's a weird tone shift for you.
I mean,
I
he is
feel
a
like
teacher at the Magambia.
I feel like I've had to collect my thoughts a little bit for this one.
Sorry, you were saying Mercedes?
So Charlotte just slams her head out all of a sudden at the silence and is just like holding up a mint and goes, "These are so good! You'd have to try them!" Just like pops one in her mouth and goes, "All right." Boom.
Funnily enough, probably the reason she's so enamored with them is I actually have had those mints custom made by someone you're all familiar with.
Oh.
The Missy Yao?
Yes, from the Magambia herself.
Oh, she's delightful. What
Uh,
did that deal entail, or is there a like a non-disclosure?
there's actually no deal involved. I'm just a friend of her family's.
Oh, lovely.
Hmm.
It's taking pastry lessons under her. She is so skilled.
A second uncle of hers was turned into a newt at one point.
Oof.
Oh.
They got better.
Ah, good to know.
At being a newt, I'm sure.
Yes.
Well, I feel that it bears mentioning that Lucia was not one of the people at the Magambia who had anything to say about you.
And honestly, I don't blame the people of the Magambia for having suspicions. You live long enough in the Morgi expanse, you will either encounter someone or have an encounter with the demons or devils that is likely going to be very unpleasant. I am aware that I like to think I am a bit of an outlier in that regard. I have been allowed to live in the city for quite a few years now and practice my trade. I know some people aren't happy about it, but, no one has thrown a bottle of brandy with a flaming rag through my window or tried.
Oh my! Egra, stop that.
You guys ever seen that gif of the frog laughing?
No.
Gamma does that kind of silently.
Well, it's not as if I don't have any idea what you were talking about. People sometimes have the same misconception about all witches in general, that because we get our abilities from an outside source, that outside source must automatically be something nefarious. And that's, I mean, really could not be further than from the truth. But some people, they just scare easy, I think.
Out of curiosity, Igara,
Yes.
is there something I could do to perhaps put your fears to rest? I'm curious.
Let's see. Honestly, nothing.
She kind of leans forward a little bit. Would you like to chop my head off?
No, thank you. I don't do that anymore. Did that?
Oh no,
It's how I
it's
got into
perfectly.
this mess.
She's like, no, it's actually perfectly right. And she kind of loosens the black ribbon around her neck and takes one of her long kind of ears and tilts her head to the side, and it actually comes off the neck a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there we go.
See?
But
Nearly headless.
in all seriousness.
Oh no, actually.
Why do
by
they
the
call
hair,
you nearly headless?
pulls it off,
So
puts it back on.
cool. Where did you want to do that?
That's a fun party trick.
That was actually a result of a customer who was so displeased with what occurred to it, despite the fact that what they got was exactly what they asked for.
Which was what?
They wanted a magic sword that would be strong enough to slay their enemies. They just didn't realize they had so many enemies. And some people they thought were their friends were in fact their enemies.
Oh. Yeah. That's why you can't word requests like that vaguely. It's just not going to work out for you in the end.
And that is why he is a trunk now.
Oh. Interesting. You know, there is one thing that has been, I guess you could say it's been bothering me. Is that I've been, and I know you're probably not allowed to disclose the details of certain arrangements, but I have been very, very worried about a mutual acquaintance of ours. I don't suppose you've heard anything about Kiara, have you?
May I? And she kind of reaches out to take your hand.
Oh, memory wipe magic didn't get to this one.
She just takes your hand and kind of looks off to the side a little bit as she's touching her hand, and then takes away. Okay, I didn't actually know the name, but now I've seen the face. Funnily enough, I can speak as to the nature of my interaction because in a funny manner of speaking, the terms are no longer of a concern.
Oh?
You could say the person I made the arrangement with doesn't exist anymore.
Oh.
I thought I had a monkey's paw somewhere in this bag.
How do you mean?
I'm not sure how tapped in you are to sort of like magical resonances or the ley lines of the Mwagi Expanse, but
I am a little tapped.
not a few days ago there was a bit of a kind of a disturbance through the ley lines and the like. There was some powerful magical reaction, and just due to the nature of my arrangement with, we'll just call her Kiara from now on, I was aware that they were no longer who they used to be. And I can say this now because they technically longer exist. They were not really a full person in a way. And I don't mean that in a sort of like, oh, they're not real people, you know, we can enslave them or something. She was magically only a half of a whole.
What does that mean?
Well, I can answer that question with another bit of information, specifically the object that I helped acquire for her ages ago, and I acted here as more of an intermediary rather than the actual provider of the object, was a special stone blade that, rather than rending flesh, it could rend the spirit. And though I don't know what it actually was used for, I can sort of guess, just based on various clues, it's very possible that it was used to cut a spirit in twain, to turn one into two. But that, based on the reactions from the ley lines and kind of magical resonance, is no longer the case.
Well, the last time we spoke in person, you told me to tell her that you were still waiting. So
Yes.
then, does this make whatever deal you had null and void? That she is.
That's an interesting question. I'm going to have to figure that out.
Hmm. Truthfully, I was hoping to maybe buy her debt the same way that you bought our debt from Choco. But if that's
Oh.
not an option, then.
She immediately looks somewhat interested now, like, and really kind of there's a sparkle to her eyes. Out of curiosity, did you have something in mind to offer for this debt?
Not off the top of my head. I didn't know what I had that you might be interested in at all, to be honest. But I figured if the demand was there, then perhaps we could work something out. But oh, this is very disheartening news. I pull out the little remains of the ring that I was wearing as a bracelet, the little wooden fox ring. Um,
Ah. She
I
kind of looks
was
at that and immediately just starts wiggling her fingers in the air a little bit, casting like some like identifying detection magic and the like. She's like, yes, I believe that this what occurred to this was probably a bit of feedback from whatever occurred that may have recombined the two halves of this spirit, possibly had a feedback loop with any sort of magic item that she had created. Very powerful bit of magic, because cleaving a spirit in two is no small feat, but after they have spent so much time apart, recombining them is a thing of greater magnitude. And the I cannot say that I would necessarily ask a great deal for this particular debt. She agreed at the time simply to do me a small favor, but nothing big. So, and I do literally mean a small favor. I'm not talking like, oh, just a small favor, you know, that kind of thing. Um, but if you really did want to purchase it, even though it is a bit of an odd kind of debt now, I'd perhaps be willing to make a deal, and all it would cost you, and her gaze slowly kind of just turns to look at Zoe, would be your voice. No, I'm joking. I've always wanted to say that bit.
A little overdone, don't you think?
I think it's just a classic.
It is a classic.
I can't say where I originally heard that story. I think it was a castle owned by a mouse or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
Although perhaps a song would not be a bad offer. A jingle for your store, maybe?
I'm Ophelia,
I mean-
and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
This is something that I have done in the past, and our benefactor did
This is a. I'm going to
benefit
say
from
this.
it.
I'm going to say this, and this is a meme. I'm not being weird or something. Just turns to Igra. We'll bang, okay? If anyone's seen those YouTube videos,
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm here for war. I would have to say, no offense, I'm not particularly interested in a jingle. I think it would kind of clash with the mystique I've got going for the shop. No
Well,
offense.
maybe jingle is a wrong word. More like a haunting song that people will sing about. Do you know what I mean? Can you?
I understand where you're going, but though on the other way,
like
on
the legend of the like that sort of.
on the other paw, if it was a sufficiently one of a kind and amazing performance, I might be willing. Though I can't say that she would be in just because of the nature of her divided and undivided and what have you nature. I'm not necessarily sure you could compel her to go with the bargain. It is a damaged goods, so to speak, this particular deal.
Yeah.
Which does make me more likely to willing to give it away if you're willing to give a one of a kind performance, perhaps.
Avi turns to Ophelia and just like,
I don't mean to disparage the debt, but it is sort of in the bargain bin now.
well, to help one who is split in two, I wouldn't mind it. How's your business these days? Need a little boost?
But she actually doesn't say anything for a moment, and she just kind of like, after that comment, she's looking at you very intently, Ophelia. She kind of tilts her head a little bit.
Hi.
We'll talk later.
Oh, we will. Okay, that sounds fun.
But she kind of like settles into her chair, puts her cup down, crosses her hands on her lap. If you wanted to perhaps sing a song, if it's I am fond of rare things, I'm sure, as you can guess. So if you can somehow manage to make a song just for me.
Well, I can use a song that is extremely special to me, created by my sister and I, my late sister. No one has heard this except ourselves. It's a little bit of a love song, has a little bit of hope, a little bit of intrigue.
Well, you've certainly caught my interest.
But yeah. And so Ophelia kind of like settles into the chair and then like casts dancing lights, and you see Floribunda on her little hat, her little leshy, kind of start like swaying with her, which will give me a +1 to this roll.
Mercedes wiggles a finger and the lights dim a little bit just to like a little spotlight around Ophelia.
All right. We'll see how this one goes. And the tune, I'm gonna re-roll that one.
Hero point.
But the tune that we would be singing, it's
Does anyone want to do something that might accentuate this? I would allow you guys to, if you can justify some neat little like accompaniment or a effect to go with it, I might give a bonus. Someone can come up with something.
I don't have it prepared today, I don't think.
Charlotte throws a bomb right at me. Kaboom!
I mean, if you consider the delightful like leaking hum of magic being crafted behind closed doors,
I mean, I personally, Matt, love the sound of like blink, blink, bubble, bubble.
Uh-huh.
But
it is. It's very rhythmic. You can hear it's like ding 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 ding. So
Is that your many legs?
essentially.
okay, I
I'm
don't want to
working
picture that.
magical craft in 3 different weapons and transferring powers from one to the other from them. like I got all arms on deck here.
Igora, do you want
funny.
to throw your hat into this
I
ring?
am not here. I am not part of this.
Igor
This is all on you.
Igor's mad at us.
I'm not mad at you all. I'm just disappointed.
Igor's pissed. P-I-S-T.
Choco just speaks up. No, he's just mad at me.
He's mad at all of us.
Yeah, but we're
I
not
don't
mad
have
at
a
you,
lot to
Choco,
help with the
so
performance,
he's mad
but
at
I-
us.
I can do a little produce flame and just kind of like.
I like it. I won't give you a bonus for it.
Okay.
We can. All right. We're gonna re-roll it. But the tune would be. Oh, of course, it's worse. It's an old Gershwin song called "Somebody Loves Me," and there's a part of it that goes, "Somebody loves me. I wonder who. Maybe it's. Maybe it's you."
Oh, come on.
I would say that is a lovely rendition. I thank you, of course, for your performance, actually. Just because of the low roll, though.
It's so low. I literally rolled a 4
Yeah.
and a 3, and it was a
Yeah.
3.
Mercedes thanks you for a performance, but she's going to have to decline to transfer the debt. But she reaches somewhere in her almost not there dress, and pulls out a little token. It's just it seems to be a little like purple heart made of glass or something, or like crystal, and hands it to you as like a token of appreciation for a lovely performance. And this is essentially a one-time use thing. You have to shatter it to use it, and it will give you advantage on one roll.
Oh, that's cool.
So and you can put this in your inventory as favor of the Duchess.
Ooh, Duchess. Wait, can I roll a society check about her? Is she a Duchess?
You can certainly roll a society, or if anyone wants to roll, well, she wouldn't have said this out loud.
Well, I roll well on that one, I guess.
As far as you were aware, Duchess is not a position in like societies in the Magambia outside of like maybe people who have come from elsewhere and like landed nobility that have brought their own culture, which is not really belonging to Magambia. Though, do give me a religion check.
Oh, God. Now that's a funny one. That's a funny little one.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Anything that comes to religion, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
don't worry about it for. I mean, like, come on.
It's pretty arcane too, in a way. Not literally like arcane skill, but like old, not terribly practical knowledge.
Religion itself is arcane.
And you said
Oh.
that was a +1 on, or an advantage on.
On a single roll, it's essentially a one-use, one-time ever item. You break it and you get an advantage on a roll.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, cool. Thank
And
you.
we'll never use it.
Crush it like a persona card.
What do you mean? I use the things that I have.
That's fair.
We did use that fireball necklace at one point recently.
We did.
That's
Use
That's true.
things.
Yes, but I think this performance is a lovely capstone for the evening. So unless you wish to stay up and discuss the particulars of the repaying the blood debt, your rooms have been prepared for the night. I'm sure you've had a tiring day, so we can all retire to our chambers for the night.
Gama,
I wouldn't
good.
mind knowing more about the blood debt, but if you think of anything else that might be able to help Kiara, I hope it's not too much of an imposition to ask that you know, if you think of anything, I'd love to hear it.
I mean, I could offer any number of magical items that might prove useful if you needed it to confront or assist her or heal her of some kind. But, and I should make this clear up front, I don't do anything for free.
Of
I
course not.
literally can't do anything for free. It's kind of a thing.
Of course, of course. No, I don't really want to confront her. I just want my friend back.
An admirable goal. You're not the first person who's come to me with such a task.
No, I imagine not.
It
Well,
hasn't
I'll keep
always ended well, because that kind of desire is a two-way street, so to speak. You can want your friend back as hard as you want, but they may not be the same person you once knew, or it might not be what they want.
No.
Oh, look, I
no.
did give something for free.
Well, I appreciate the advice.
Nosebleed on her, like, no, I should not have done that.
Oh, for this advice, I give you a very yummy jar of jam.
Where did you get that?
Ooh.
Have it in my pockets.
Well, thank you.
Avi
There
has
you go.
deep
I'll try
pockets.
and incorporate this into the menu for tomorrow,
Ooh,
which will not be
nice.
served by me, so it gets around my thing.
At least it's not pocket
Oh.
caramel. Ah,
Oh, look at the kitty! Look at the kitty! But yes, if you wanted more particulars to the debt, as mentioned before, to clear the blood debt that is owed to a few of you, all that would be required is to go to the address in the little scroll I have handed to you at some point during your stay in Jula, and simply open a door and leave it open.
Just like the front door, or
I think it's a side door, really.
okay. Okay, side door it is. I would like to know more about the particulars of what will happen once we do that, but I
The only thing
have
I
a
can tell
feeling.
you that I mentioned
Yeah.
before is this will not result in anyone being harmed. In fact, quite the opposite. This may, in fact, save a life in a very broad sense.
Oh. Will you tell us what happened after we've done it, maybe?
That might be very possible. But
Okay. Well, then I shall see you probably at your shop in Nantambu afterwards.
I am
Just
heading back there once my business past Jula is concluded.
as are we. But I will turn in for the night. Thank you for this very stimulating conversation. And I will think further on what you have said.
All right.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The eyes. All I am seeing are two eyes. And they blinked. So your camera there's black, and then there's two cat eyes poking in underneath the couch.
Oh.
Where?
Oh, I see. I saw them for a
So you're
second.
confused. It's right by the unicorn.
Oh yeah.
At that little dark portion.
Oh, yeah,
There's
I see two
Oh my
eyes.
god. Sarah, you
Spooky.
have the eyes of a hawk.
Delightful.
Not me to like jump
I was
scare
so
people.
fascinated with
That's
like
so
patting
funny.
the unicorn that I just saw them. It was like nothing, and then boop. And I was like, eyes.
Is that a pair of buttons?
Oh, little baby.
It's a
sweet
void.
Caroline.
The void.
Yeah, Mercedes wishes you all a lovely night. She points out which rooms have been put aside for each of you. Yeah, do you guys all retire to the night? The lights in here kind of dim, so
Igora goes into Gama's mouth.
just in the room. You're not going to go in your room.
Nope, just right there.
You still hear the slight echo of a ting 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 ting.
Avi invites Choco into her room to like snuggle with Agate if he would like. Or he can just sit in Igra's room alone.
He's perfectly he's just going to sit next to Gama and Igora. He's made his
Understood.
choice.
More couples therapy to follow. Familiars
Um,
therapy. Maybe it
Fault
needs to
my
be a
friend.
thing.
Avi, when you return to your room, anything you do, or you're just going to turn in? The room, by the way, is cute in a way that while there is a full-sized, kind of like normal human-sized four-poster bed with like black satin drapes and stuff, and you can pull, it'll cover the bed. It's, very classic bed. No windows in the room, mind you, but there are candles and the like. But there's also then a little, almost like a cat bed on top of the bed with a little pillow for more appropriate for your size.
Oh,
Cute.
that's so darling. You know what? I do still have one sending prepared, and as it is the end of the day, it would be a shame not to use it.
Okay.
Um, I
Igra.
suppose I will try Kiara again, considering that's where her head's at. And also she's
Thinking
curious
about Kiara as you lie down to bed, huh?
as I, hang upside down from the ceiling.
Spicy. Bonk.
Spicy.
I appreciate you bonking me with the magic book, Will. Thank you.
Bonk. Bonk.
It's because it's the
Keep
one
those.
I have open.
I'm just saying, guys, looking at the time, keep those bonk things handy.
I'll just shoot her a little sending, Sid.
You are going to cast, is it sending or message?
Sending.
Sending. You reach out, and when the spell is cast, it's always kind of an interesting sensation. It's not like you are reaching out with your mind or anything and like taking hold of something, but you often feel like there's connection in, or if you try doing it to someone, because you've experimented with your spells or stuff in the dorms and the like. Don't read into that. And you know the sensation of when you connect with someone that the spell works with. There is a feeling of connection, like something sort of clicks, like almost like a hook has gone onto something, or a seatbelt clicks. That doesn't happen. And this isn't this isn't like fuzzy static or something weird that's like, oh, there's like anti-magic around here or something, or they're going through a tunnel or something. The spell kind of flounders. It almost feels like it's searching for this destination that it is familiar with, because you've communicated with her before with this, and it finds no purchase. Either she is so far gone, like on another plane or something. Like, I don't know if sending works on another plane.
It is planetary.
So she's either like, you think either she's in a pocket dimension, a full other plane, or she's dead, or doesn't exist anymore. Hard to tell which.
But then that would also include, because I did speak to that other half of her in the dream, technically I would be familiar with both halves of her.
Yes, individually.
So it would be, you would say I would be unfamiliar with them as a whole?
Possibly, yes. They might be a completely different person as a whole.
See, Alessandra.
Yes, but no. Like, I think magic...
It's a weird magical gray area.
Yeah.
If you want, you could spend time, meditating or trying to work through it or something. Or there are cabinets around this room or the other room. There might be some magic tool that might be useful.
Oh, well, I will spend some time meditating and see if I can't work through the squirreliness of...
Okay. It might be just sort of, you may need to realign the way you're thinking, perhaps. The way you're focusing it, perhaps. Perhaps you are too focused on one or the other. You have to sort of, in your own mind, imagine what this new person might be. But while you're doing that, Ophelia, you return to your room kind of simultaneously. Your room is very much the same, just without the little bat bed. Seems very comfortable. Probably the most comfortable bed you have seen since leaving the Magambi on this whole trip.
Oh, thank God. So she reaches into her bag and she changes into the silky pajamas. She was hoping that we would find a bed comfortable and soft enough for the silky pajamas. It's the first time on the whole trip. She takes off her hat and she has her little rose leshy and pulls her and puts her on the pillow next to her and like pats her
Actually,
down.
you notice there is a little water basin next to the bed on kind of a sideboard,
Oh, okay.
a little pot.
Yeah. She settles her in there so she can soak.
Yeah.
So cute.
Are you just settling into bed? Or are you gonna do anything beforehand?
Probably just gonna settle into bed, yeah.
Okay. Give me a quick perception check.
Oh god. The spooky, scary skeletons.
20.
I'm gonna roll
As
them
you
all
are
night.
as you're kind of like, getting comfortable in the very nice kind of mattress, there is the slightest sensation of weight being put on the bed on the other side of it.
Hello?
Do you turn to look?
Yeah.
In the dim lighting, you see just sitting almost like side saddle on the side of the bed, wearing like a silk house gown, is Mercedes. Just
Hello?
looking over at you and smiling.
Where's the bonkage?
Nowhere to be found.
If you call for help,
bonk,
I'll be
bonk,
there in a
bonk.
moment.
Hi. Can I help you?
First off, I did want to say again, thank you for sharing that song with me. I know it came from a very personal place, and I hope it didn't summon any unfortunate memories. That you mentioned that it had to do with a sister who had passed on.
Well, that's sort of the whole thing about performing, is you need something to draw on to be a real person. So
He kind of like now turns properly and just sits cross-legged on the bed, kind of looking at you, and she just kind of stares at you for a moment and says, I wanted to ask because I got a sense of something and I wanted to check. Have you been all right recently, dear? Anything bothering you?
now that you mention it, yes, there has been something bothering me, and I don't quite understand it. Um, you may know already. What
I have a,
is?
I have a, I have a little bit of an inkling. It seems there may be some internal turmoil a little bit.
Having a hard time keeping it together with the group falling apart, you know.
Yeah. She reaches once again into her robe and pulls out a bundle, appears to be wrapped in kind of a dark red silk, and places it just sort of on the bed between you. Um, this is probably not what exactly you're looking for, but I did happen to retain this after it was used, and I thought if you ever felt the need, I just wanted to let you know that it is here if you want to perhaps make a deal for its use. And she slowly unpeels the silk, and you see sitting on the bed. It appears quite old, kind of a very, very old, kind of wrapped leather handle, a stone knife with symbols carved on it. If you ever felt like you didn't want to have to deal with your problem anymore, this could help, in a manner of speaking, if that is what you want. Not a course to be taken lightly, of course, but it does open up many possibilities.
Thank you for the offer. Maybe in one instance. But I don't know if that instance will come to pass anytime soon.
That's perfectly fair. And she kind of just wraps it back up, puts it back into her kind of house coat or chemise. I don't know what a chemise is. Um, and she just kind of like lightly taps your hand, just let you know that I like you, dear, and I want to be helpful. But as mentioned previously, I can't do anything for free. So just wanted you to know that this option is on the table.
I appreciate you being there for us, of course, for a price, albeit, but
I
you
just,
didn't have to welcome us with open arms.
well, doesn't cost me to be nice. She kind of gets up off the bed. Her footsteps make no sound, which is kind of weird. She walks to the door and like, sorry for any weird questions this may cause later. And she opens the door and walks out. Igora, you sitting out in the main room, see
I'm fully in Gama's mouth.
um Gama sees Mercedes come out of Ophelia's room.
Ophelia totally winks at Gama.
Well, you're in on the bed. Gama's out in the main hall area. Um, yeah. Are you gonna do anything, Igora, before you fall asleep in Gama's mouth?
Just curl up on the tongue and go to bed.
All right, I'm gonna roll some checks to make sure Gama doesn't accidentally swallow you. And finally,
when you have an idol on.
Charlotte, you are working late into the night, I'm sure, as is your custom from your days at the school.
Yeah, I think at a certain point in time, when I finish with the exchange of the magical runes and the tones so that the items are transferred around, I step out again because now I'm like exhausted but not sleepy. And Charlotte just walks out of the bedroom into the parlor room, just like all arms doing that stretchy, the fingers like moving, like doing a full on stretch and just like
It's pretty dim in here now. There's just sort of like an odd kind of like almost like spotlight in the middle of the room that shows sort of like the circle of chairs you were all sitting at before. In a corner, there's a slowly expanding and retracting Gamma with like a single Igora hand kind of sticking out, and for a second you worry he's eaten him. Um, but as you're standing here, just sort of taking this in, there's a little click, and a door on the far side of the room just kind of creaks open, and there is a faint light coming from in that room.
I should. Oh, but my curiosity just won't let me leave it alone. All right. And I just walk over towards the door very carefully and just kind of like over the side of it just to be polite.
There doesn't appear to be any answer. You hear the faintest bit of like music coming from inside.
Delightful. I creak open the door a little bit more to peek in and go, hello?
You see what appears to be a hallway of bookshelves.
Ooh.
And the light seems to be coming from sort of around a corner, just a little ways down, and it sort of forms like what appears to be like a T-junction, but the other side is also bookshelves.
Mm.
There are books of all sorts of different types too. Some are thin, some are thick and old, flaking leather. Some are wrapped up in hides of some kind with like little tags hanging off strings or something.
There's the the sets of arms as she is passing through, continuously looking at all of them, are kind of like stimming, like I want to touch, but I'm not going to. So she's kind of like, some are doing this, some are like that, some are doing her other set is doing this. She's like,
Give me a perception check.
what's that?
32. Okay, yeah, over 30. You hear as like have you advanced into the room a little bit?
Yes, I think she's done the
All right.
walk because the tomes are just so like,
Yeah.
ooh.
You hear the faintest like rustling of like cover upon cover, and you can just sort of glance behind you. There is just like an arm that has sort of emerged from the floor. It's of the same kind of relative size and like kind of dusky purple shade as Mercedes, but it's just emerged from the surface of the floor, and it has pulled a book off the shelf and is sort of like feeling the spine a little bit, like the embossed letters on it, and kind of just snaps its fingers a little bit, and then puts the book back and sort of like sinks back into the floor.
That's awesome. She just like walks over and just looks very casually, like ooh, bends over her 6 foot height to like see what the hand was trying to feel.
The book is Ancient Customs and Histories of Whisper Elves.
Interesting. Perhaps not the book she was looking for, though.
So fucking rich coming from you, Will.
It's not the book she was looking for. Mm, no.
You hear the like a slurping sound.
Um, I don't mean to intrude. I was curious if
Are you speaking softly, like kind of like walking around, in the house at night, kind of talking, or are you
Kind
like
of.
just normal voice?
Yeah, I think she's very much not accustomed. Like, she knows when private time is important, so she's just like, I really kind of just want to like know about these books because they're so cool, but also like I don't want to disturb if she's, busy and stuff like that. I'm just nervously like walking around and going, oh, I'd love to read all of these. I wouldn't even need to keep them. I just want to read them for the night.
It's a drama going on in the chat. The only response you hear is like the sound of a page being turned.
Okay. I'm going to continue forwards to where the light was coming from at the end of the
All right. You kind of peek around the corner, and a very curious sight meets your eyes. Kind of spread out on, not a fainting couch, but kind of one of those long kind of couches that people.
chaise.
A chaise, yes. Is Mercedes, but you only recognize her because only her face is sort of visible. She's wearing some sort of long button-up garment that seems to be soft and covers her feet and has little things for her hands, but it's also got like a hood
Wearing
with funny
a
little
fucking
ears,
snuggie.
and it's got like a drooping, soft-looking horn on it.
Kigurumi.
And she is sitting holding a book in one hand, a mug of what you can only assume is tea at this point in the other, and there is another hand, like an arm that looks like hers, but she has all of her arms, like one's holding the book, one's holding the mug, just coming from the back of the large book she's reading and idly turning the pages. And she kind of just absently turns to look at you, and then her eyes kind of go wide, noticing that you are here, and just kind of like stares at you for a second.
Hi.
The arm instantly retracts into nothingness, and she kind of, not dramatically, but she kind of snaps the book shut. She's like, "Oh, hello."
You don't. I mean, you can.
She reaches over and you notice on a table next to her, there's like a ornamental golden branch with what appears to be almost like a golden hummingbird carved like sitting on this thing. Like it's not a real bird or anything, it's all metal and stuff. But the hummingbird's beak is open, and you realize that's where the soft music is coming from. And she tilts the beak down and it turns the music off.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool.
Like, um uh, sorry, did you need
I'm sorry,
something?
Captain. No, I mean, I just heard there was I'm sorry. I didn't mean you can
Oh,
go back to it.
did the door swing open?
Yes.
Okay, now I know that may seem like I was trying to be like tempting and mysterious, but it's just a shitty door. It
Oh,
just does that sometimes. I was hoping everyone was asleep.
no, I mean, I don't sleep very long or often. I just finished so I was kind of I've got a lot of magic just everywhere. Sorry.
Okay, did you want some tea?
If I'm not intruding, I can go if you.
No, no, no. I'm not really sleeping either. This is fine. Um, give me a moment. And she kind of like quickly shuffle steps. She can't move terribly well in this silly garment she's wearing. She shuffle steps, and you hear some like rapid movement just out of eyesight, and she comes back in like, the silky kind of uh, you know, vampy kind of like night garment. It's like, yes, yes, the tea, yes. Um,
You didn't, I mean, if you were comfortable, I don't want you to feel like you have to put on
it's
airs or anything.
it's
Trust me, I know all about putting on airs. I mean, look at me. I'm a mess as it is. And she's just like, you notice she's a little bit like her hair is like all over the place because she's been so busy, like going through the magical crafting steps.
don't worry about it. Chamomile.
That would be lovely. Yes, thank you.
She kind of like drags a little table off from the side and like pours another cup for you and gestures to a comfy looking chair sitting nearby. Nowhere near as kind of like obviously set up for a sitting area as the main room. The chairs are just kind of simple chairs. They're not the lovely high backed one with the leather.
Uh, just sits and does that.
Um, so I don't think we've met before.
Oh, oh no,
Before today, obviously.
no. I've been I've been a little preoccupied the past couple of years, so whatever occurred. And anyway, I'm Charlotte. Charlotte.
Um,
Yeah,
yes, Mercedes. Lovely to meet you.
a pleasure. You have a lovely collection, by the way. Your books are fascinating.
Thank you. It was actually a bit of a hassle once the Magnificent Mansion was sort of stabilized. These books are all actually mine and real. They had to be moved in, and before the spell gets canceled, I will have to move them out so they all don't suddenly just fall to the ground.
Oh, right. I imagine you would have a bag of holding that would make it easier, right?
Yes, but still, each individual book has to be taken off the shelf and put into the bag.
It is true. I understand that. I don't even know where my books are, actually, from my classroom.
Oh, oh, I'm sorry. I know how attached people can get to their books.
Most of mine were. I have them all in here, actually, now. I've memorized most of them. It was more just. I appreciate a good physical book.
Have you gotten any new books recently? I that can be exciting.
Yes, I have. I've gotten a bit of a situation, the books I've been working with. I've done some research and studying. I don't honestly know how much I should be telling you about it because, I mean,
I'm a very good listener.
would be one of the first, I imagine. Sorry, that was.
No, it's fine. I appreciate your candor. A lot of people seem very guarded, obviously, when they come talk to me for obvious reasons. So it is reassuring to someone who speaks freely and frankly. It's nice. I know I don't help. I put on airs and like, and she gestures her outfit. I just sort of do this out of habit most of the time.
I used to, you know. I mean, I used to put on a lot of airs growing up. I don't know how much you know about Minari, specifically the Weavers. The
I mean,
Weavers, but
more than you'd think, probably not as much as I should, though.
we're a very large family. If we're large, and you know, it's when I told them I wanted to be an alchemist, they were excited. Oh, you know, they were very excited. Elixirs, potions, helping, healing items, things that they could sell. Then I exploded the classroom. And
I mean, at least it was probably exciting.
it was colors of rainbows.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
Oh, it was wonderful. I had so much fun with that chemical composite. First one I ever made, you know?
Oh, you always remember your first.
It's true.
You
But-
said you had a new book, though, that was giving you some trouble?
Well, you might know more about it just with your relative knowledge.
I'm pretty well read, I must say. She kind of gestures to her books, looking somewhat
That is-
proud.
I've recently come across, well, not technically recently, technically speaking, I came across it many, many years ago, but very recently now I managed to get a book in relation to a secret cult.
Oh, that's exciting.
Oh, very. Specifically, a secret cult, a very what necromantic sort of elements, as it were, which is very exciting, especially considering one of the three gods is a poison god, specifically dark
She
poison.
kind of leans in, like, she kind of narrows her eyes a little bit. Did you say 3 gods?
Well, yes, 3 specifically. 3 gods. The god of, and she just kind of like flitters with her brain, like she's trying to think. The god of, there's assassination techniques. So specifically assassination and murder, toxins, and I would need to look at my notes again. Well, anyway, the 3 darker arts gods. I've studied them. Well, I did study them a while ago when I first went on an expedition in regards to a rumor of a god with poisons, and, you know, came across that. But from there, there hasn't really been an opportunity to search more into it. So I just, just speaking, it's been flustering me. I don't like not knowing things.
Well, she kind of looks to and fro in a slightly kind of like, obviously kind of conspiratorial look. Like, would it surprise you to know that I am passingly familiar with this particular trio? I'm not a acolyte or observer of their particular beliefs myself, but I'm well read, including some rather ancient stuff. I know I don't look it, but I'm older than you would think.
I mean, same most of the time. Although, by comparison, I am quite young, actually. But most ages for most of the races is very odd. So, but
To clarify, though, is it perhaps the kind of secretive nature of the text, the actual reading itself that's giving you trouble? Like, is it hard to read? Is there a cipher?
well, yes, the language itself is one I am not familiar with, and I'm no linguist. That's not my specialty. My specialty is chemical compounds and and herbology and that sort of thing, but languages are a bit more difficult for me to understand. I do, however, understand the premise of it, and it is dark magic, and it's not something that I employ. I don't.
Why do you think it's dark?
I consider the use of techniques to murder the innocent to be rather unseemly.
Are you
However,
sure are you sure these techniques are directed solely at the innocent?
there's very little.
I'm just speaking as someone who has read many volumes of history from many different cultures. There have been religious orders and non-religious orders that have specifically dealt in assassination, and sometimes they have been simply directed at uh, those in positions of power who these people believed abused their power. There have been assassins who have had a creed specifically against those who stand above others and misuse their powers. I'm
Well,
not saying this is necessarily the creed of that particular trio, but
hmm.
assassination is not the black and white affair that I think a lot of people assume it is.
I mean, just look at what I do. Some would consider my brand of specialty to be rather nefarious in nature, but have you ever actually seen the foxglove plant?
I can't say I'm much of a herbologist myself. I'm usually dealing with the end products, but and she kind of looks around. I might be able to help you with your translation issue. I think I have a codex in here somewhere, and you hear sort of a faint rustling of books from somewhere else in the bookshelves. I might be willing to pass on a copy of it that may assist you with translation.
And what, pray tell, would you find of interest in exchange for such a thing?
Well, the knowledge of hidden tongues is often a very valuable commodity. And she kind of leans forward a little bit, and you can't help but notice sort of the light sort of like dims around you guys. So it's again just like a spotlight around you too. And she kind of looks at you, all for the use of this codex to aid in your discovery. I would ask only one thing. And
Hold that thought.
yes, the cats.
Hold for cat.
Yeet.
Cat yeet.
For those of you who are new to the channel, there is a bed right there.
This is not animal abuse.
Just a soft, squishy landing pad for them.
You were saying, my apologies.
She places a gentle hand on your knee and just says, all I would ask in return, and her kind of face just kind of drops, is that you tell no one what you saw here tonight.
Aww.
I have a reputation to maintain. Also, it would be a nice little, just keep it a secret between us.
I want a freaking snuggie.
I can promise you it remains here.
Very well then. And she kind of turns and you look in the direction she's turning, and another one of those arms just sort of comes out of a lower bookshelf, picks a very small like little folio out of a corner of a bookshelf, and then sort of passes it down. Another arm comes out, takes it, the first one disappears, and a sort of like conveyor belt of arms leads itself down to the far end, and then finally Mercedes herself reaches out and the little folio is placed into her hand, and she hands it to you.
I'm picturing Robin from One Piece.
Sort of.
Okay. Just wanted to get that image in my head correct.
Though, I should state this, because I always think this when I see Robin do her things. With the exception of certain areas, all the women in One Piece are very thin-limbed.
Yeah,
Merce-
no, it's an actual arm.
Mercedes is a little stout. She's got some good heft to her.
Right. So
Yeah.
yes.
She
No,
is not lithe or willowy.
we're talking pre drawing style for
Maybe, yes.
a little bit. Got it. Uh, um, uh, thank you. And as an exchange for the deal,
Oh, well,
um, no word of this ever again. However, and she just reaches down and gently, like with one hand, grabs the codex and lifts the other and goes, "It was a very good look on you."
her cheeks get a little darker purple, actually.
Just one of the arms goes zip, like a mum's word.
I just
Zip the
realized that
mandibles.
these are the two people in the party who have potentially have multiple arms.
Think of the hand holding, you guys.
How many hands? Further on, I will appreciate this research, and I'm fully willing to speak again in regards to anything I find. I don't know if it would be of any interest to you, but I feel you would be one of the few people who would listen.
Well, I'm a big fan of collaboration.
Thank you. And thank you for the chamomile. It was delightful. I think I shall leave you to your quiet time, and I shall go to bed myself. Oh, well, I mean, I might be reading a little bit, but
Have a pleasant night. Nadine will summon everyone to breakfast with a little bell they have.
delightful. Thank you, Miss Mercedes.
Delightful to speak with you, Charlotte. And as you kind of get up and leave, give me a quick perception check.
I can do that.
As you are going back down that initial little hallway, you happen to catch a glimpse through a missing kind of book, like a slot in the shelf where there would be a book usually. Just sort of from the back. She's holding like the arms of the thing again, and she's trying to get her legs back into the snuggly thing.
Just keeps walking. Like I saw nothing.
Yeah. So if we all retire to bed, and you are all woken up with the gentle ringing of a bell.
Still, I meditate for a good long while if that yields anything.
Give me an Arcana check.
Gladly.
All
Okay,
right.
33.
33 is not 14. You feel like just sort of the best way you can mentally kind of imagine this is you feel like your fingertips are nearly grabbing onto the edge of something. Feel like it might take a little bit more work. You've never really had to do this before, so it's a bit of an unfamiliar kind of sensation, but there's something there. You haven't quite grasped it yet, but you found something.
Interesting.
Though it does feel different.
Hmm.
Do you want to spend the whole night and maybe take a point of exhaustion? Or
Well, we
fatigue?
have 2 days of travel. That is what she told us.
Yeah, it doesn't really specify how much it takes to get. It says 40 miles to get to Jula.
We were told last week 2 days of travel.
Yes.
So with that in mind, perhaps it will take us less time than that. With that in mind, if I have a thread to pull on, I'm pulling on it, babe.
All right, do you want to stay up all night and try and really focus?
If there is a possibility that I can get this done, then yes. Yes, I will stay up all night.
All right, give me another Arcana check, though you are now fatigued 1.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Well, it will be after this. You don't have to worry about it for the check.
Okay. Nope, not today. I mean, I guess I can use a hero point. Why not?
Yeah, we're very close to the end, so you could if you want.
Nope, not tonight.
Though you didn't critically fail. Very close on that last one, though.
Yeah.
You feel like you haven't backpedaled, but you don't feel like you have made any more progress. It's still just out of reach. You can't grip it. It's there. You're touching it. You're feeling the edges of something, but
Not tonight.
not tonight, Satan. Ignore that. Yeah, you all wake up to the sound of a bell. Igra, at some point during the course of the night, Gama kind of gently put you on the ground, and you find yourself essentially in a little sleeping bag sort of thing with him nuzzling you. His chin is on your chest.
So no one's listening to me now. Great.
I mean, now your clothes aren't soggy.
Charlotte walks out and is carrying like a bow and a thing of knuckles and just sees you on the ground and goes,
Thank you.
and then as soon as sees Ophelia coming out, goes,
Charlotte, you look tired. Were you up late last night?
no, magical crafting just takes a lot out of you.
I get that.
Deception check? Wait, how do we...
Did you all exit your rooms at the same time?
I mean, the
the ringing of the bell commands
the room...
you.
Oh, Over the Garden... If it wasn't the end of the night, I'd give you another hero point for Over the Garden Wall reference.
I love Over the Garden Wall.
With Tim Curry and everything. The room out here has been rearranged. There's now a nice long table. And you do see, because it is a magnificent mansion, there's unseen servants and the like. Nadine seems to be directing them, but there's just trays of breakfast food floating through the air and landing in places on the table.
And
should we try the Dre stuff? Is it delicious?
Oh my god.
Heard good things. I've heard good things.
You also look very tired, Avi. Are you all right?
I am a little bit tired, yeah.
Charlotte gently reaches down and cups you and lifts you so you don't have to fly or walk.
Thank you. She snuggles up in your hand and just kind of
Perhaps a little bit of coffee bean might help.
A little bit of coffee bean might help, I think.
I love a karat floats over to you guys.
Aww.
And a little tray with cream and sugar cubes, though the sugar cubes are in the shape of skulls.
Like a tiny little mug.
That's cute.
Sized mug. I'm sorry, this is the idea is so cute to me.
a little ceramic thimble.
It's just like an espresso mug.
The small creatures with small possibilities just makes me so happy.
Mercedes is noticeably absent. Her chair at the end of the table lies empty.
I address Nadine and say, should we wait for the lady of the hour?
No. Lady Mercedes instructed us to proceed without her. She has some early morning magic mirror calls to make.
Oh.
Business being what business is, I suppose.
Yes. This isn't a vacation for her.
Well, it's not a vacation for us either, technically.
Got a lot of killing to do.
Although it was supposed to be.
Oh, it was supposed to be a study trip, but...
Yeah, an academic
a study
kind
trip.
of
We're out here to help both and
vacation.
her family, so...
Ophelia, please understand this when I say it, but given our track record with whenever we try to pursue something academic, us usually ending up having to kill a bunch of things is pretty par for the course at this point.
Igor, I just wanted a beach episode.
Oh, we'll get you one eventually.
Fourth wall.
Igor sits down and enjoys his ration jerky.
Choco, who has
Eat a
just
shit.
eaten a couple sausages off the table, mentions, I think Jula might be a port town. I'm not sure if it has a beach.
You can sunbathe on
We
a
can have
on
a we can have
board.
a port episode.
Perhaps they have a boardwalk with confectionaries.
Or maybe like fun little rides
Oh,
to
we can-
ride
Though I'm
on.
not sure if those would have survived any occupation by the Knights of Abednego.
Oh,
They seem like
probably.
kind of killjoys, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That certainly puts a damper on the.
I am
Um,
excited to be done with them.
At that sound, the door across the room kind of opens up. Charlotte knows that this is the door to Mercedes' kind of library, and the hostess comes out. She is wearing some semi-casual slacks and a tightly done up kind of blouse, and she's got glasses on the nose of her or the bridge of her nose, and she's kind of like writing something in a like a little book that she kind of snaps close and then wraps a little string around it and just kind of drops it on the table before grabbing a large cup of coffee on the table, taking a drink. I know I have a reputation. I know I like making deals. This is the thing I like doing in my life. But just I want to make this clear to everyone in this room. I don't want anyone's firstborn. I don't want to be a parent, and if someone is offering me their child, I would assume I'm going to have to raise the child. I don't eat children, for God's sake.
Bagel?
People need to stop offering me their firstborns. I'm not interested.
Charlotte's just has been like scraping cream cheese on little bagels for everybody and passing them out with the arms and just goes bagel. After she says, I don't eat children.
Thank you. Her when she kind of casually reaches out for the bagel, not paying attention, and she kind of like touches the tip of your finger with her finger, and there's a bit of a jerk of her hand a little bit. She takes the bagel and she's kind of like, oh, sorry.
What was that about?
Static shock. It's a little dry in here.
Ah.
I have been shuffling a lot, to be fair.
I mean, the carpet
Every
is very
day?
nice.
It's delightful.
Every day you're shuffling?
Every day I shuffle.
But as we start a new day here in the traveling group to Jula, we're probably going to end the session for tonight before we launch into anything new. We are getting to a level 11, so we're going to have to make sure everyone is ready for the next session for that, for reasons I'm not necessarily going to mention right now. But yeah, thank you all for joining us for tonight for this a little bit more casual kind of evening after our weeks of combat in the prison. We're hopefully going to be getting into a little bit more combat next week, but also some intrigue as you guys reach Jula, and who knows, you might have to rally support from the population or do some sneaking around. You guys have never fought a town before.
Well, it sounds
Yes.
like next week will be quite the interesting week to join us. So,
Yes, indeed.
if you're new here, please don't forget to give us a follow. If you do, a frog will hop across the stream. Join us on Wednesday for the League of Amazing Adventurers wrap-up episode. Our 2-year-long campaign has come to an end, and we're going to talk about it and probably cry a bit. Then on Friday, we have the Astral Calling. On Saturday, we have Salt and Sorcery with Crystal Calf and Chad. And on Sunday, we have Stardew Sunday with just Will this week, but Stardew Sunday with Friends will be back next week as we continue that game. And then, of course, every Monday, you have the Strength of Thousands AP here on twitch.tv/tabletop rolls. So,
Junker!
I'm going to go,
Let's go
and we're
Oh,
going
boy.
to go give someone a raid. We got a lot of raids tonight, so we'll send y'all towards third action. They're playing some Pathfinder Money.
Oh,
And
Some
old
pepper
school.
chunk.
we'll see
Just
you
say
all
pepper chunk.
on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us.